2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Seconds till broadcast. Five, four, three, two, one. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It is the Voice of Reason. Welcome into it. It is great to be back after a couple of days off last week. Had to take a little vacay time, and it always seems that you're more busy on your time off than you actually are when you're working. So there is that, but I'm back. It's great to be back with you today on a Monday, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation on the flagship station of the Big Talker, KQAM in Wichita, Kansas. We are all over radio, TV, live streaming across the nation. And we appreciate you hanging out with us wherever you may be on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on our website at HoosierReason.com, and radio and TV, of course, as well. I had no idea that there was a term called, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, mansplaining. Now, I got accused of mansplaining on social media today. And apparently, I had to look it up because I had no idea what it actually was. And according to the definition online, mansplaining is the explanation of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing. So apparently I was condescending to a female. And, Andy, what'd you do? Because my wife has never told me that I was mansplaining, but maybe she has. I don't remember. That sounded really bad. But I don't think she's ever said that I've been mansplaining to her. She's gotten mad at me a few times, obviously, because, well, that's what we do. But I don't think I've ever been accused of mansplaining before. Now, the context of the conversation was the fact that there was a discussion on social media, as you know that I love to do. And I had made the comment, or someone had made the comment, that rich people don't pay their fair share, and that the stimulus package that we're looking on voting on, and the Republicans' proposal of cutting the $600 for the unemployment benefits from the CARES Act, was that we're not taking care of people that are needing it with that, and that we hate poor people, and that we're giving tax cuts to rich people when they don't pay any taxes. And I just made the factual conversation that, in fact, rich people, quote unquote, do pay taxes. In fact, that the top 25% of Americans pay 86% of all income tax in the country. So you can hate them, that's cool, or you can think that they don't pay enough, that's cool, but they pay their fair share because they actually do pay a lot of tax, In fact, they pay almost all the taxes in the country. And, of course, then I said, but if you don't like that, then that's fine. But she accused me of saying that I'm mansplaining things. She said, I don't appreciate you mansplaining. I said, well, I don't know how that is. I'm just giving facts. You can base your opinion on emotion, or you can base your opinion on fact. I would prefer to be able to base mine on fact, but maybe this is just an emotional argument, which is what the majority of progressive arguments really are, because then, of course, when they go onto the personal attack and saying that I'm something like mansplaining, that means they have nothing else to contribute to the conversation. So mansplaining, that's apparently a really big, important thing. But I thought that was perfect to be able to segue into our next guest, because I'm really excited. He's been on the show many times before. And as we talk about climate change, we get accused apparently of mansplaining things and being condescending when there's actual facts. And maybe someone like Al Gore could be, could accuse us, I guess, of mansplaining, even though he's not a female. I don't know. Maybe he identifies as one nowadays. Who knows? But Al Gore doesn't really have the facts on his side, especially when it comes to something like climate change, because our next guest is the one that just tears him to shreds. He's the author of the book Inconvenient Facts. You can find him online at InconvenientFacts.xyz. It's Mr. Gregory Wrightstone on the line with us here. Gregory, how are you, my friend?
Good. I was really curious to see how you were going to tie mansplaining into climate change.
That's right.
What's he talking about?
You like that segue? I tried to work that in there. Yeah. But Al Gore could accuse you of mansplaining because you tear every one of his facts to shreds with your information with your book Inconvenient Facts. And really any other progressive on the left side of the aisle that tries to say that climate change is killing us all and that man-made global warming's going on and AOC's new Green Deal. I mean, this is the stuff they fall for, and I guess we need to mansplain it to them in order for them to comprehend what's really going on.
Yeah, but you first have to have that conversation, and what they want to do is try and shut me up and people like me up talking about the facts of climate. Hey, I will just tell you what I'm going through right now with people trying to shut me up. And as you know, I'm based here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my local township, McCandless Township, has an environmental advisory committee. And they've got 7 people, and there has to be one person from each ward on the environmental committee.
Sure.
And so there was an opening in Ward 7. Well, I'm in Ward 7, so I applied. I was the only person. Last Monday, this is just happening right now. Last Monday at the meeting, I thought it was an open and done deal because I was the only person that applied for it.
Sure.
Right? They opened the meeting up and they said, they decided they were going to change the charter of our township that has been in place for 40 years because it's turned out that we're going to have to accept unqualified people to be on the Environment Committee. I'm an expert reviewer for the UN's Governmental Panel on Climate Change. I'm a degree geologist. I've written extensively on energy, which is their main focus here, because they hate fracking and they hate natural gas development.
Well, sure.
And I don't, right? So they changed the charter, voted to keep me off the township.
Shocker.
So what did I do? I filed a right to know request for the town. I want the emails back and forth between these people going, oh, we can't have this science denier,
How
so
dare
anyhow,
you.
that I just wanted to bring you up to speed. That's what's going on with me here,
That's
with them
fine.
trying to shut me up in my own township here.
And you would think that a township, you would take on and accept anybody who's an expert and who actually studies these issues rather than the mom that's down the street that's just like, oh, fracking's really bad for my kid and little Billy going to school. And
No.
Yeah.
And actually, my local library, Northland Public Library, I donated a book, and they rejected it. They banned my book from the library.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You've made it big officially. You've been banned from the libraries because how dare you give facts and information? That's hilarious.
I asked them, I said, how many best-selling, it was number 1 bestseller for 9 months after that, and I asked how many best-selling authors that are located in your district have you ever rejected for a book?
Wow.
It was 0, of course.
Unbelievable. That's
Yeah,
funny.
so anyhow, enough about me. But
well, that's interesting for sure, and they love to silence it because remember, when we give the facts, then we're mansplaining and we're just terrible and we're just imposing our will upon them because they just don't want to hear it. And the facts are tricky little things. You have a blog on your website at InconvenientFacts.xyz, and you talk about some of these things that are like legit actual facts. And while Al Gore has said that we've been in a warming climate for so long, and what was his prediction? What was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? Where was his deadline that we would all be underwater, that all the coasts would be underwater? That obviously didn't happen, but you're saying that we've actually been in a cooling phase for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. It's a big, long cooling phase of many millions of years. But that's somewhere around 80% of Earth's history has been dating back to the I'm a geologist, so I look at big picture. Dating back to the Precambrian has been a lot warmer. 8 to 10 degrees centigrade, that's 15, 16, 18 degrees warmer than what we are right now. It's been the true history of the Earth. Right now, we're in one of the lowest, if we look over the last hundreds of thousands of years and millions of years, we're actually at some of the lowest temperatures that the Earth's seen. And now, right now, we're in what's called an interglacial period, which is these are typically 10,000-year periods that are beneficial warming. And we get out of the ice age, then we have maybe 90,000 years of ice advance. And so, we're in this 10,000-year period of warming, which is hugely beneficial to the Earth's ecosystems and humanity. And so we should be glad we've got the warmth. And the other thing I like to talk about is we look through Earth's history. Before climate science became politicized, the previous warming periods, like the Roman warm period, the time of Christ, or the medieval warm period, these were times where humanity and the Earth prospered. Each warming period was just hugely beneficial for humanity, and that's a good thing. And what we find is these intervening cold periods were horrific. We had crop failure, famine, pestilence, mass depopulation, things like we're experiencing now with the COVID-19. They had those, not the COVID-19 per se, but other similar viruses that took place during these periods of these cold, and people were bundled together. They spread diseases. It's estimated that half the population of Iceland perished during the last one. A third of the population of the world, the entire world, perished during the last cold period. So what we're being told is, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we can't let it get 1.5 degrees centigrade warming and we're all going to die. Well, no, that's just not what we found. And just today there was a new study released about the Roman warm period, which was the time, of course, at the time of Christ, the Romans, the high benefits of the Roman Empire that rose up. This study today said it was much, much warmer than it is today. Sure. And Earth benefited. We benefited tremendously, and that was just released today about that.
Now, are they starting to realize that we're going into this cooling phase? Because the last I had heard was that they were saying that we're going into this global warming phase, or they changed it from global warming to climate change because they didn't know what was going on. And they said that the warming was going to lead to the next ice age because it was going to get warm and then revert down. So was that their way of trying to say, oh, we realize that we're in a cooling phase now, so we have to correct ourselves. So the warming that we've been saying is going to happen is going to revert us into an ice age and go back to the cold, so that way they can correct their science, quote unquote.
Yeah, I get asked that a lot, and when I tell people is I'm a geologist, so I look at what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
And we call it the theory of uniformitarianism. I'm not going to bore you with the definition, but basically, it's what's happened in the past is probably more likely to occur in the future. Those same processes, and I look in the past and I see these other warming periods that got warmer than we are today and lasted longer. And I think we're likely to repeat that. I think it will increase. We're likely to see another 60, 80, 150 years of warming, and I'm okay with that. Because again, I look back, what happened in the other times when warming was much greater? I mean, people prospered and thrived.
I was going to say there was a lot more precipitation, there was more vegetation, there was a lot more of that stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, and that's what I'm a real-world kind of guy. I look at what's happening today. I don't look at, we hear all these horrific claims of what might happen in the year 2100. Well, I look at what's actually happening today, and I see an Earth that's thriving and prospering, and humanity's benefiting just about every metric you can look at. Is it food production? Is it life expectancy? You name it, it's getting better.
Yeah.
And again, isn't it just opposite of what we're being told? All we hear on the news is that just everything of calamity and extreme weather. We're going to die of hurricanes and fires, and it's just going to be awful. Well, that's just not happening. Extreme weather-related deaths are declining significantly.
It's the end of the world.
Extreme weather deaths in the United States have declined by 98% in the last 80 years.
Wow. See, but it's the end of the world according to them. We got to take a break here real quick. We're talking with Gregory Wrightstone, author of the book Inconvenient Facts. You can visit him online, InconvenientFacts.xyz. When we come back after the break, I want to get into this election with you and talk about some of the platforms and how big climate change may be a factor for people going to the polls and how big they're going to be talking about it on the campaign trail. And Joe Biden, the supposed moderate in this thing, is he going to be moderate when it comes to climate change and his buddy up with AOC and maybe the Green New Deal? So we'll talk about some of that and more when we come back. It's a Monday on The Voice of Reason. We have so much to get to. It's great to be back after a couple days last week on vacay. We'll do all that and more right here on The Voice of Reason all over the country on radio, TV, and live streaming. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HoosierReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HoosierReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HoosierReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hoosier Media Network, visit us on the website at HoosierReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yes, you are. Welcome into it. Great to have you along today on a Monday, hanging out here on the Voice of Reason, cramming 10 pounds of reason into a 5-pound bag. That's just what we do. Trying to bring reason each and every day, rebranding the millennial generation one radio listener at a time with the Hoosier Media Network in conjunction with KQAM Radio here in Wichita. Yeah, Hoosier Media. We created our own network, and we're making this happen each and every day. On the line with us here for another segment, Gregory Wrightstone, author of the book Inconvenient Facts. You can visit him online, InconvenientFacts.xyz. Plus, if you're watching the live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that, you also have the links to his website, his social media, all that stuff on there as well. So you can go and check that out. And we appreciate it when you do very, very much. Let's talk about this upcoming election. Joe Biden is the quote-unquote moderate Democrat that's going to get the nomination and go head-to-head with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has gotten under massive attack over the last few years because he's wanted to cut a lot from the EPA, cut some regulations. We repealed the water, what was it, the water rule, the Water Act, whatever it was, that Barack Obama had put into place. So he's more on the conservative friendly, let's open up the markets and do our thing. Joe Biden, where does he stand on this? Is he part of the AOC Green New Deal extremist climate change propaganda, or is he pretty relaxed on this type of issue?
It's kind of, sort of. It's mostly AOC Green New Deal. He's had to pull back. Again, I remind you, I'm calling from Pennsylvania here. Mm-hmm. And energy and natural gas and fracking development is really important in this area. It's estimated there's 600,000 potentially people that either rely on or directly or indirectly employed by energy companies. So it's huge here. He in one of his debates, you might remember, he said he was going to ban fracking on, I think he said his first day of his office. He's walked that back a little bit. But his new his energy platform, and if you're Joe Biden, you can't help but step in it, right? Because
well, sure. I mean, this is the same guy that said there's no such thing as clean coal energy while Barack Obama was campaigning on clean coal energy. So
right,
yeah.
But I know your listeners are a pretty educated bunch. If they I think they may remember back when he was running for president in 1988, he was accused of plagiarism by plagiarizing British politician Neil Kinnock's speech entirely. He didn't even change the commas or the and or buts. He just plagiarized the whole thing.
Wow.
And now his Green New Deal that they rolled out to great fanfare here, well, it's been a month and a half ago, it was completely lifted from another green energy group site. He didn't even he didn't change any ands or buts. He just copied and pasted those people, didn't put it on their website.
Wow.
They've revised that a little bit now, but it's a pretty radical proposal he's got here. He's walked back his pledge to ban fracking, because if he did that, that would completely kill all the energy that's going on in onshore United States, because you can't produce oil and gas onshore in the United States virtually without fracking. And people, your listeners know that, and so but his proposal is horrific. They wanted him, by they I mean the radical Greens. They wanted him to pledge to ban to go completely carbon free by 2030. He says, "Oh, we can't do that." Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, you know, and I know we can't. But he said, "No, we'll do it by 2050." Well, we still can't do that either. And again, your listeners know that's just an impossible feat. He
also said that we were going to, cure cancer in the next 10 years as well. We're out of time on this one. Can you stick over one more segment, or do you have to run?
I'm stumbling around here. I could stay with you for a little bit.
Very good. I appreciate it. We'll keep you on for a short segment here. And the next one, we got a bottom of the hour break. I want to talk more about that with the cap and trade and with some of the energy efficient stuff that they want to work on, which I'm all for energy efficiency and trying to clean things up. But is Joe Biden the right guy to do it? Again, there's no such thing as clean coal energy. So we'll talk about that and more when we come back. Bottom of the hour news coming up right here. It's the Voice of Reason on the Hoosier Media Network and KQAM. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hoosier Media Network is way more than just the Voice of Reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hoosier Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Who's Your Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at who'syourreason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yes, you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason, where we try to bring reason, common sense, rationality into conversations the best we possibly can. I don't know. Sometimes we don't do a very good job of it, I guess, or we're just mansplaining. See what we did there? I don't know if you've seen this or not as well, but there's apparently a woman who was going around in public in San Diego, and she was macing couples that were not wearing masks out in public. And this, according to DISRN.com, woman maces couple for not wearing a mask in San Diego Park. Now, it's a public park. It's open outdoors, and she wasn't wearing a mask, or they weren't wearing a mask, so she went and maced them. And there's a new term that's apparently called for people not wearing masks, and it's called bareface. Yeah. I'm serious. This is the new coined term going around, is that if you don't wear a mask, you're now called bareface. I didn't know that we needed a name for people not wearing masks. I thought that was called being human and being normal, but now you're bareface. And she was macing people calling them bareface. So we got a few minutes here left with our guest, and I apologize for putting him on the spot. I wanted to carry him on just for a few more minutes because I think it's a great conversation here. But I don't know. There is a name for us, isn't there? We're called climate deniers, right?
No, we're called rational.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
That's the term should be sane and rational. That person was not. And I'll embrace. I'm a bareface. I don't wear my mask unless I have to.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know they had a name for it though. That's weird.
Yeah. No, I hate wearing a mask. I don't know how it is. We're required here for a lot of the stores here.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
It's awful.
No.
But hey, there was maybe we should touch on. There was just a study released Friday on polar bears where they were again another one. They're going extinct by the year 2100.
That's right.
And I looked at it. I looked at that study. I looked at the underlying study. It's just crap. Am I allowed to say crap?
You can say that. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, I just said it, so I guess I have to. And so anyhow, it's BS. It's bad science. That's what BS stands for. And what they did was they made these bizarre assumptions that will never happen. They assumed that the coal use would increase 500%. That we were going to 5 times increase our use of coal. Temperatures were going to be driven almost 14 degrees Fahrenheit increase by the year 2100, and the bears were going to go extinct. And it was just extremely unlikely scenarios, and not just beyond unlikely. They're scenarios that aren't going to happen. And we know also that even in the times past, when we had much warmer times than we had, the polar bears survived. They survived the last. Remember, we talked a little bit ago about the interglacial warming. Yeah. There was one about 100,000 years ago that was much warmer than we are today. There was no ice at the northern polar ice cap at that time. Polar bears survived quite nicely. And again, we see in my book, I document how bears in the high ice loss areas were fat and happy, where they should be going extinct or getting thin and not eating. They were actually thriving and prospering. So maybe the story is that the simple bear necessities may not include ice. You like that?
Oh, I like that. I like that. Now that is
simple
against
bear necessities.
The simple bear necessities. I like that because I've been watching a lot of documentaries on Netflix, and a lot of them are really fun with the planet and the world and the animals and the funky animals out there and all that. And I've heard numerous of these documentaries, read by David Attenborough, because he apparently reads all of them. But all of them have talked about how the polar bears are starving. They have to swim further to get food. They can't survive if it continues on. I've heard this from numerous documentaries on there as that's just common sense and fact, and we'd all just need to accept it. So this is blowing probably a lot of people's minds right now.
No. David Attenborough is he had his latest one, he showed a bunch of walruses going off a cliff. And he said it was because of climate change. I think there were 60 or 80 walruses that went off this cliff to their death. And what it actually turned out to be, his own film crew, they were flying a drone. We had aerial photographs of these walruses charging off this cliff. It turned out that the drone that they were using spooked the walruses into going over this cliff. Wow. And it was either that or there were other polar bears that they were scared from. And then, of course, after they went over the cliff, the polar bears had quite a field day. They were,
I'm
smorgasbord time. It's time. I love walrus.
It's time for a sushi buffet. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And but no, David Attenborough, he's been exposed with some just horrific lies. This is just the worst of the last. And again, we see the polar bears have been the increase has been polar bear population has been increasing quite a bit. And if you had my app, my smartphone app, you could find it with Inconvenient Facts. Search there. You'll know that you could go to fact number 52 and get a polar bear population chart showing polar bear population for the last 60 years and showing that it's been increasing steadily.
I like that. I'm going to have to download the app now. It's just Inconvenient Facts app.
It's awesome.
I love it.
That way you could have all these 60 Inconvenient Facts that are in my book, Inconvenient Facts, in the palm of your hand. That way, if you're having Sunday dinner, do people still have Sunday dinners? I don't know.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, supposedly. And your idiot nephew Billy, that's majoring in sustainable development at KU, he tells you, oh, Uncle Andy, polar bears are going extinct. You can pull out your smartphone app and go, wait a minute, Billy, here's fact number 52, and here's 60 years of polar bear population that shows they're increasing. And each one of these charts that I have in the Inconvenient Facts app, they're fully sourced and referenced. There's some text about it. So a lot of these you'll find that one in particular. I've got original videos that I've created that are pretty cool.
I love it.
That are linked to that.
We're going to have to do that. Anybody that's listening, you can just go on, find your app store, and just download the Inconvenient Facts app. Great information, because I love the climate change discussion and the debate, because it makes them look so silly, but yet they're so full in themselves. I mean, when they come out and say 99.9 or 98.8% of scientists believe in man-made climate change, or whatever stat that they use, that they feel so confident in themselves, which is why they call us, of course, the climate change deniers, that if we try and present any other opposing views, they automatically dismiss us as the crazy, radical wackadoodles who just live under a rock and don't understand what's really going on in the world. And it's funny to watch them squirm and just live so high and mighty when they really don't have any clue what's going on.
Oh, exactly. And I don't know if we've talked before, but I was just recently accepted as an expert, in quotes, expert reviewer for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the UN. So I'm actually part of this process.
Well,
so,
congratulations.
it's
Yeah,
nice.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, that gives a little gravitas to my credentials here with this. And I've been working with the people at the CO2 Coalition, Dr. Richard Lindzen, Dr. Patrick Moore. You might have heard of. He's a YouTube legend. He was one of the founders of Greenpeace, and he realized the error of his ways, that they weren't really the Greenpeace movement, changed from what he wanted when he was a radical growing up in the 60s.
Wow. We got just a couple minutes left. We're talking with Gregory Wrightstone. Inconvenient Facts is the book. InconvenientFacts.xyz is the website. You can also download the app, Inconvenient Facts, as well. Real quickly, I do want to ask you about the Green New Deal that AOC had presented a few years back, and now that we're going into election season, beginning to rise up again, and some of the former presidential candidates that have dropped out now were actually co-sponsors of that on the Senate side with Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, who could potentially be the VP candidate for Joe Biden as well. Is the Green New Deal in its original form still alive and working, or is it a new form that they're working on now? Because it was pretty radical of ending flight travel, rebuilding every plane or every building in the nation. Is that still their goal at the end of the day here? Have they changed their goal here?
Yeah, it was. They at the time they called it aspirational. That this is their be all and end all if they could get it, and they were smart by doing this because they set the bar pretty high in terms of radicalism. It was estimated to be $90 to $100 trillion that it was going to cost over the first 10 years of this.
Wow.
And that we get rid of airplane travel, and we're going to build. You take a train from here to there, and it was they've. If you set the bar that high, you can walk it back a little bit, and that's what they're doing now. Oh, okay, well, maybe we won't ban air travel, but you're going to have to make some big changes. So they've walked a little bit of that back, but still the bar's pretty high. They're still agitating. We hear Greta Thunberg. I watch what she's doing and what she's saying, and these people that are on the radical extreme are still pushing for this.
Well, I didn't know she was still even
economically.
Yeah.
Well, she isn't, but they're still pushing for things that would be economically crippling for you and your listeners and all of America and the world, frankly.
Yeah. I didn't realize she was relevant still, but I guess she's the young kid that can really just bring out the emotion in a lot of people. It's Gregory Wrightstone, the author of the book Inconvenient Facts, InconvenientFacts.xyz. Also, the app you can download as well. You can find all the information on the live streaming links there as well. Gregory, it's so great to talk to you. It's been way too long. Now that the show's back and growing national, we got to get you back on more regularly and have some fun with this.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
Hey, I love it. I appreciate the time very much. All right, we'll take one more break. When we come back, the Republicans have released part of their plan for the stimulus recovery that we're going through with the COVID-19. So we'll talk about the details on that, plus the money that we're spending. I mean, the Green New Deal, like you just talked about, $120 trillion. We just spent $3 trillion on a recovery package, probably another $3 trillion coming soon, and that's going to bankrupt us. But yet they want to spend $120 trillion on environmental garbage. We'll do that and more when we come back. It's The Voice of Reason. It's a Monday. Stay right here. Lots to get to.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HoosierReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HoosierReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HoosierReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hoosierholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
So during the break, I did download the Inconvenient Facts app, and there's some really cool stuff on there. There's a lot of different facts that you can look at, and when you click on it, it enlarges different pictures. It gives you stuff, and it's really neat. So make sure to check that out, Inconvenient Facts, InconvenientFacts.xyz. As well, Gregory Wrightstone, great guy. He's been on, I've heard him on numerous different shows, including Joe Pags and other national talk radio shows, and he's a great friend, and he comes on anytime we ask him. So we'll get him back on a semi-regular basis, because I love talking about climate change stuff. Oh, I love it. The left, they are so adamant that they are right. It is really the church of climate change. if you do not fall for, if you do not believe it, then you are a denier. You are like a Holocaust denier. You are a climate change denier. And that's really the mentality that they put in. Now, they really do that with other issues as well, really just the whole progressive agenda, but specifically climate change. If you don't believe in that, then, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that you don't believe in man-made climate change. They take it to a whole new level, and they try to dismiss you. They try and demonize you, and I think it's hilarious because we understand what's going on, and he's got it right on, and he's been able to debunk pretty much everything. So which is why Al Gore is going to claim that Gregory Wrightstone is mansplaining things. Yeah, see? Or are you just a bareface? And you just, I don't know why they have to come up with terms with this. They love ways to find derogatory terms. See, again, these are the progressives that weren't the slave owners, right? They weren't the ones that tried to keep segregation going, separate but equal. They weren't the ones that tried to fight the abolishment of slavery or tried to fight for equal rights. Yeah, the Democrats were, by the way, just historically speaking, just to remind you, but they try to claim they're not. But at the same time, while they say that they're inclusive and they want everybody to be together, their favorite thing in the world to play is identity politics. Identity politics. Now, we try to classify people, but I classify them based on their mindset, on where their mind is and where they fall on the political spectrum, because most of the time your political views and your philosophical views of the world really relate to how you run your own life, right? You run your life, you operate on a daily basis, you think about the world in the views of what your theology is or what your philosophy is of the world around you. If you think it's horrible and negative, then you're going to be very angry and bitter, and you're not going to be very cordial to other people. If you think the world is a great place to grow and be opportunistic and do your thing, then you're going to be mostly cheery and be more welcoming to individuals, right? And it's proof in point right here when a lady's going around macing people for having bare face. Again, never heard of the term before, but we're either mansplaining or we have bareface now, so there you go. The Republicans haven't released their entire plan yet when it comes to their CARES Act, or repealment, not CARES Act repealment, but replacement, and it's called the HEALS Act, the HEALS Act, and it's the Republican alternative. Now, it's causing a lot of discussion, as many are accusing, of course, Republicans for not caring about the poor and the misfortunate. According to ABC7Chicago.com, that their plan, at least in small detail, and the GOP aides would be briefed more on the bill, and it would cut the jobless boost to normally what is right now the $600 unemployment assistance to $200 a week as it begins to phase out, to ensure that eventually we're no longer doing the $600 a week just straight across the board, but we're giving you 70% of your employee's previous pay, which means if you're making X amount of money, you would be making 70% of that with the government's assistance. That would, by the way, last for over 4 months and could be renewable as the coronavirus fight continues down the road. So that's the latest. They want to continue to wean people off it and then go in and give you 70% of your pay with the care, or with this HEALS Act, on how we would take care. Now, it's not going to go anywhere in the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi is going to despise this because she wants the straight across the board $600. Because again, you want to look at the way that we operate between conservative philosophy and progressive philosophy. Progressives love the one-size-fits-all because everybody just sees it fits under the same umbrella. We don't want to look at your unique needs. We just want to say we're the macro-managing. We want to micromanage you by doing macro-management type of style and just give you one thing and just everybody needs to go along with it. And if that's not enough money for you, then, oh, sorry, that stinks. If it makes you more money than what you were working, then that's great. Just stay on it as long as you possibly can. They want the one-size-fits-all. Republicans, they're like, let's do 70% of what you were making. That way, no matter what, it can help you. You can try and pay the majority of your bills. You can work a little side gig temporarily or do what you need to, and then we can get back on track. Hopefully this is a temporary thing, and then we'll be able to open up the economy, get jobs open again. But now it sounds like most states and many Democrats are now calling on national shutting down of restaurants and bars because apparently you're only going to get the virus if you go and have a drink at a bar or sit at a restaurant, because they're racist against drunks and people that like adult beverages. See what we did there as well? That wraps it up for today. Podcast going up soon. Make sure to check it out. Thanks again to all the radio stations, TV stations, hanging out and checking us out each and every day. Thanks for you listening to us each and every day as well. Be your own voice of reason, because it's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Back at it tomorrow on a Tuesday here on The Voice of Reason. Hey, it's it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HoosierReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.